Your family is different from mine. You've probably heard that from one or two people in your life because family are a couple. You must have read about vampires or even watched them in movies, but you have to wonder if they truly exist. Well, meet this vampire family of two, Leah and Arrow. Leah and Arrow would meet when Leah was 20 and Arrow was 38. They met on a dating website. Leah considered Arrow a perfect man for her since he told her that he was a vampire. Leah was not a vampire, but she loved stories about vampires and hoped that they did exist. Meeting Arrow was a dream come true for her, and the two became close in no time. Arrow told Leah that blood sharing would bring them closer to each other, and that idea sounded totally cool to Leah, who asked that Arrow turn her into a vampire. According to Leah, the initiation was done at 3 a.m., which is considered the witching hour. Arrow cut himself with a razor and offered Leah his blood while Leah did the same. With a connection like that, it's only normal to tie the knot, right? But even more unusual, the two chose Halloween to be their wedding day. According to Leah, her parents are happy about their relationship, but they're unaware that she has converted into vampirism. Boys. This Pakistani family wouldn't be on this list if it didn't include two children with an unusual condition. The children, named Ahmed and Abdul Rashid, are normal and active children, but only during the day. Once the sun goes down, they both lapse into a vegetative state, unable to move, eat, or even talk. When these boys were discovered, the Pakistani doctors became mystified as they had no idea what had caused their symptoms. They ran a series of tests on them but still couldn't understand why they only became active during the daytime. However, the government provided them with free medical treatment as they came from an impoverished family, and soon doctors collected their blood samples and sent the samples overseas for further examination by specialists. Researchers also collected the soil and air samples from their village to determine if the problem was from any of those two factors. According to Mohammed Hashim, the father of the two boys, he had already lost a child to a similar condition, and apart from the two boys, the remaining two children have not shown any unusual symptoms. Mohammed believes that his sons get energy from the sun. However, the doctors have dismissed this idea that sunlight plays a role, noting that the boys can move about during the day even when kept in a dark room or during a storm. Soon, a 9-member board was formed to conduct testing, while blood samples and test reports have already been sent to 13 international collaborators. Finally, the boys would be diagnosed as suffering from a congenital disease called myasthenic syndrome, which is a rare illness with only 600 cases reported all over the world so far. They were provided with drugs that are reportedly effective, and ever since, the boys have been well, even at nighttime. The Little Family. This family consists of amazing little people, and it started with two little people who had big hearts, Trent and Amber. The couple met 20 years ago through the Little People's Organization, a group that arranges meetups and other things for little people, so that they can get together, learn about each other, and also be around other little people as well. Both Trent and Amber are achondroplastic dwarfs, the kind of dwarfism that affects your extremities. Their torsos and heads are regular-sized, but the rest of their bodies are smaller. The moment that the couple met, there was an instant attraction between them. They got married and gave birth to two children, Jonah and Elizabeth. Then the Johnstons would become a family of 7 after the couple adopted 3 more children, named Anna, Alex, and Emma. Anna was in an orphanage in Russia until she was the age of 4, before being adopted by Amber and Trent. As for Alex, he made his way into the family when he was younger at just 6 months old, and as an infant, he made the journey from South Korea to Georgia where the Johnstons reside. Amber recalls how smoothly the adoption went, saying that they had handed over the baby and the diaper bag, and that was about it. Emma's case was much different, though. She was abandoned by her family in China when she was only 5 at the time. It was then, in 2010, that Trent and Amber went all the way to China just to adopt her. And since then, the family has been one big, happy little family. Looking at the family together, you get curious about their height. Trent is 4'3", while Amber is 4 foot tall. Jonah and Anna are 21 years with a height of 4'4" and 4'2" respectively, while Emma and Alex are 16 years with an estimated heights of 4'2". Elizabeth appears to be the tallest of all the heights, around 4'4" and 4'5" at age 20. The Wonderful Family airs a television show titled 7 Little Johnstons that premiered in 2015, and their fans simply cannot get enough of them. The largest family. Now, I talked about a big family, but I promise that this family is larger than any family you've ever seen. Talking about a large family, Ziona Chana decided to make his family the largest in the world. He was born in 1945 and belonged to a Christian sect named Chana Paul that has about 2,000 followers. The sect allows polygamy for men and was founded by Chana's grandfather in 1942. Chana grew up with the belief and even took it to another level. He met his first wife, who is 3 years older than him, when he was just 17. After that, he married more women and eventually had 39 wives in total. These 39 wives gave birth to 94 children, and these children gave Chana 33 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. To burst your mind, though, this large family lives together under the same roof. They live in a 4-story house called the New Generation House, and it features 100 rooms in total, with Chana's wives sharing a dormitory near his private bedroom. The wives take turns sleeping in his room and stay with him in 7s at all times. Chana's extraordinary life has grabbed several headlines over the years, with his mansion becoming a major tourist center in the state. People from all around the world will go into the village just to get a peek at the family's lifestyle every chance they get. In 2021, Ziona Chana was reported dead. He reportedly suffered from diabetes and hypertension. The Angelo family. Have you ever watched a documentary titled The Wolf Pack? A documentary about 6 brothers that never left the house. Well, that one's about the true story of the Angelo family. This family of 9 had a father that suffered from extreme paranoia, and he decided to lock his family inside of the home and kept the only keys to the front door to himself. For 14 years, the family rarely stepped outside of the house. The children were homeschooled by their mother, and they were not privileged to make friends or associate with any outsiders. The amazing part of the story is that these children know a lot about the outside world without having ever stepped outside of their homes. Their father made sure that they watched a lot of movies and gave them a clue of what the outside world was like. But even still, after they got out of the house, they were astonished at what the outside world felt like. The family of 6. Anyone would have found extra fingers or toes strange, but for this family, it's a blessing in disguise. Every member of De Silva has 12 fingers and 12 toes, which in and of itself is amazing. Normally, you would have thought that extra fingers would make life difficult for them, but that's not true. The family has turned their condition to their advantage. These extra fingers made some of the De Silva good musicians and other good goalkeepers. For example, those who play the piano can hold more keys at a time, therefore making pleasant music out of what they play. They can only sound better than what a person with 5 fingers would play. As for the member of the family that plays as a goalkeeper, the 6 fingers work to his advantage. They help him to hold the ball more firmly than people who only have 5. The family is known as the family of 6 in their city and has turned the 6 fingers into their family brand. While the family was expecting a baby boy, they had hoped that he would also be born with 6 fingers, just like his older brother. Number 11. The Rapunzel family. Do you remember Rapunzel, your favorite Disney princess with the extremely long hair that saved her? Well, here we have real-life Rapunzels in our midst. Russell, a mother of 3 beautiful girls and 2 cute boys, has extremely long hair, and her 3 girls have followed suit. Russell has never cut her hair in her entire life, and now she has an unimaginable 74 inches of hair. Her 3 daughters have decided to follow in her footsteps, and they each rock 37 inches, 36 inches, and 27 inches of hair respectively. We can only imagine what a normal shampoo day looks like in their household. According to Russell, the girls require the help of a handheld shower head and use about 1/4 of a bottle of conditioner with every wash. Shockingly, these girls have not been to the salon for many years, and the first time they went, you would have thought that they'd gone to get a cut, but they were only there for treatment and styling instead. Even Russell had a fishtail braid. She said that she won't force the lifetime of long hair on any of her children, and she's leaving that decision to them when they're grown. The strongest family. Have you ever heard about the strongest man and even the strongest woman? What about an entire family? The family that's strong together. This family consists of a father named Nick, a mother named Callie, a 5-year-old daughter named Jessica, and an 11-year-old son named Dylan. The four of them train up to 140 hours per week. Nick is famous for competing in the world's strongest man competitions, and it looks like the children are following in his and their mother's footsteps. Nick met Callie later on during weightlifting competitions, and the two fell in love and eventually got married. The families featured on TLC's My Strange Addiction, which follows a family from Nevada who weight train together and are, in a nutshell, the real-life Incredibles. To get more energy and to maintain their muscle mass, the family consumes tons of calories per day, and to fulfill these dietary needs, the family spends over $500 to $1,000 weekly. As a whole, the family eats 12 eggs for breakfast, but mostly eats more organic foods. No doubt this family is amazing. The children have gotten used to their daily routine through workouts involving kettlebells, push-ups, and bicep curls. 11-year-old Dylan can actually lift over 130 pounds, while his 5-year-old sister can lift 100. Dylan said that he can't go without exercise because it's like his morning coffee. I just wonder how strong these children will be when they become adults. The family that lives on a boat. How would you feel if you were born on a boat and made to live on that boat your entire life? It seems like some children are going to spend most of their lives on a boat. For nearly a decade, Christine Christensen and Sofina Kwan have been living on a 60-foot-long sailboat in Vancouver, and right there, they're raising their children. The boat is about the size of a small apartment. There's not a ton of space, but they do make the most of what they have. Since Vancouver's housing market was recently ranked as the most expensive in North America, living on a boat has allowed Christensen and Kwan to save quite a bit of money, with which the two are building their next home on the island. The two have always had something for boats and water. Christensen, who grew up in Saskatchewan and lived in the Canadian prairies until he was about 30, had always dreamed about living on a boat. It was one of the reasons that he moved to Vancouver. Before he met Kwan, he had gotten his first boat, but soon afterwards met his wife, traded the boat for a larger vessel, which they now live on. Kwan, on the other hand, was born in Vancouver and sailed as a child, and has always lived around the water. It didn't take long for her to adapt to life in the harbor. Early on in their relationship, Christensen and Kwan would spend time working on the boat. Kwan later moved in after the two got married. Presently, they both have a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter, and both children were delivered on the boat with the assistance of a midwife. Barbie and Ken. These couples are not like any couple you've seen. Quentin and Anastasia are real-life versions of Barbie and Ken. Anastasia lived her childhood obsessed with Barbie dolls and owned over 100 of them at one time. She was never satisfied with the way that she looked and would always turn to her dolls as being the representation of perfect beauty. Quentin had also had a similar experience. He was obsessed with Ken, although he was more into his wealth than his looks, so he even bought a convertible that was similar to the toy version that his doll has. Anastasia met Quentin in 2013 and immediately found out that they shared the same obsession with classic dolls, and it turned out to be love at first sight. Anastasia and Quentin have gotten more than 15 procedures to resemble the plastic figures, which includes nose jobs, boob jobs, veneers, lip injections, cheek fillers, and Botox. They now intend to have more work done to make their transformation complete. They've spent over $300,000 on these surgeries and are not planning to stop anytime soon. Anastasia plans to get breast implants, ear reshaping, eye bag removal, and veneers, while Quentin wants more Botox and pectoral implants. They also plan daughter duo holds the Guinness World Record for the world's widest male and female tongues. Byron Schlenker's tongue measures a monstrous 8.6 centimeters across, while his 14-year-old daughter Emily isn't far behind, with a tongue that measures 7.3 centimeters. Schlenker actually didn't know about his gift for many of his years. He allegedly discovered this gift when he picked up a copy of the Guinness Book of World Records while helping his daughter with the school project. He noticed a page that featured an Australian man with the world's widest tongue while he was looking at the copy, and he only decided to check if his tongue was wider, but to his surprise, his tongue turned out to be the widest. Surprisingly, it does run in the family. He checked out his daughter's tongue as well and noticed that it was wider than the woman on the record's tongue. That unique gift has earned the father and daughter a title in the Guinness Book of World Records. What did you think of these unusual families? Be sure to let us know all about it in the comments section down below.